So, Steve, what level of Rust commitment can we expect out of you?
Dan, we're just playing the game. I don't know why you're so
Because no. I mean, I want this to be successful for you. That's why I'm saying that. And I think
successful
if
for me. It
you,
just means I'm having fun. That's all I'm
Dr.
here to do.
Vaush, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant.
so what I more so meant was, if users can expect that you're going to play this pretty seriously for the next week or two, I think they'll be willing to put in the time commitment to also play it for a week or two.
Dan said
But
you
if-
ain't gonna play it, or can you fuck off and do other shit?
That is important because if you don't play this game, the server is going to die, and then everyone's going to feel like they wasted a fuck ton of time.
Oh
getting blueprints
no!
of
Wasted time playing video games? Oh no!
Okay, listen, it's not my server collecting VIPs on, so do what you want.
Oh no! I don't want to waste any heckin' time.
Go ahead with the fucking, the bullshit. And fucking 6 hours from now, why can't I break 150 users on my server?
Oh my god, he's
Good.
so
Dan's
mad.
life, Steven.
Dan is
Okay.
losing it, Mooten.
Good. I can't wait.
Mooten, do you understand? Did you
Huh, this is a failed experiment. I don't get it. I didn't collect any users on my VIP system. Cringe. Well, that's all right. All right, Moot, you want to go duo queue?
Moot, I don't know.
That's
Is it
fucking
time to do
bait.
it again? Maybe it might be, actually. Now that you mention it.
Maybe we need to.
Maybe we need to. Okay, listen to this debate. Look.
Hypotheticals aren't. Wait, do you think an idealism is when you construct a hypothetical? Do you think those mean the same thing? You're going to lecture me on dialectical
There's
materialism.
no
and you're
point
struggling
in
on
having
this.
this discussion is my point.
Can you answer that question? Do you think idealism means when you construct a hypothetical? Have you read
you
Capital?
construct a
It's full of.
Wait, why does this not work? Oh, why is it so hard? Okay. Options screen. There's no. Is there no full screen window in this game?
I don't know.
Oh,
I do know. Do you want the answer?
No, I figured it out.
Okay. Bitch.
Full of
Hypothetical that
hypotheticals.
has nothing to do with reality, and
I
you
feel
think
like I'm
that that
outpaced
gets you
now.
closer to the truth. That is idealism because you are making the ideal conscious processes of thought your basis for truth.
Idealism is
And
not
I'm
when you.
a materialist, and my basis
I
for
see.
finding
All right,
I
truth.
see
I'm
the
not going to
issue.
be in
You
here
think
silently as
idealism
you watch
is
a
when you
fucking
think,
debate.
which is
That's
why you
cringe.
don't.
All right, goodbye, Mr. Minton. Have
careful,
fun on
Dan.
Rust. I'll catch you later.
Bye,
Bye.
Well, thanks, Kenneth.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Thank you for agreeing to talk to me. I want to set this up by saying there is overlap between our audiences, and some of the people who watch your stream and watch mine have told me that I should reach out to you and talk to you, and they said you would be reasonable. I don't watch a ton of your content. So I'm taking their word for it and gonna talk. I want to talk to you in good faith, and I know that there has been what some might consider drama or beef going on between you, me, and Luna, and some other people developing for some time.
Can I just say, this guy consistently does this, and it is super creepy to me that he, like, stands the fuck out of Luna. Like, she's, like, some child that he has to, like, run around and protect. Like, if Luna has problems with Vaush, why doesn't Luna just debate Vaush? Why is her husband slash boyfriend slash comrade or whatever the fuck, why is he doing this on her behalf? Why doesn't she just do it? It's so weird.
I feel like.
So I just want to address that and give you the opportunity to.
In wanting to ask. Just wondering if you ever feel like you've lost a debate, objectively. I'd love to watch it and see how you might have changed your stance.
Never. I have never lost a debate. I've
The
ordered.
McDonald's debate, he lost out.
I crushed you in that
You-
debate.
I got absolutely.
Oh my! I've never seen you cope so hard after getting crushed in a debate.
Nope.
Can you make stone hatchets and shit without blueprints, or are those blueprints?
I don't know. I think you can.
Okay, so you just are trolling.
Where are you at on the map?
I'm running it.
I'm in E3.
I'm probably gonna try to go to like. Hold on. There you go.
Respond to some questions and things like that. So does that all sound like what we kind of agreed to in the emails? Does that sound
Yeah, my
good to you?
pleasure. No, this is a bit of a novelty for me. Normally, when people disagree with me, they sort of just take shots on Twitter. I actually have a lot of respect for people who like hashing it out. You know, whatever you know, my reputation might precede. I do actually enjoy just calmly talking about disagreements. You know. But yeah, hit me up. You sent me an email the other day, and you know, some people in chat were complaining like you put out a video shit talking me. But in the email, to your credit, you did say, "Hey, I'm going to put this video out, so don't interpret this as some kind of like sneaky, you know." So yeah, I don't think they have anything to complain about.
Yeah, and then also, you know, people have differences about what's appropriate and what's not. One of the reasons I put the video out before the conversation was because I wanted to kind of formulate my thoughts and have some sort of basis to speak on. You know, so I do want to try to get your. Yeah, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the things I said. I doubt you've had time to watch it because it was a very long video, and you know, it's only been like maybe 11 hours since I uploaded it. So
No, I'm afraid I have not. I saw some people in my community reacting to it. Some liked it, some didn't. You know, I'm known for having a disagreeable community, so I guess I'll see when I see it.
Wait a minute. Let me just... Okay, so all right, so yeah, I think we're all on the same page about that stuff. So the meta discussion, I guess, is out of the way. We can talk about the real issues.
Yeah, hit me up.
Okay,
Hit me up.
There's three things, and I told you in the email, like three things I really wanted to kind of talk about, and the first thing is about, and I don't expect this to be a very long discussion. The first part, I wanted to just talk about the responsibility that we have as creators that have a large platform, right? So like, you and I both have pretty large platforms. I've got like over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. You have, I don't know, what are you up to now? You're pretty big.
It's like 360, 370, somewhere there, I think.
Yeah, but you have a ton of people watch your stream. I mean, you have very impressive numbers in terms of watching your live streams. So I think it's safe to say that we both have pretty substantial platforms. I guess the first question I would ask is just in general, do you agree with me that when somebody has a large platform, it comes with a certain responsibility?
Yes.
Okay, I figured you'd agree with me on that. And do you also agree that part of that responsibility is trying to develop an understanding of your audience? And because, you know, your audience is not a monolith, my audience is not a monolith. There are different kind of like sort of divisions within every audience, right? So you kind of have to get to know your audience and understand how the different sections of your audience are likely to react, and just kind of be familiar with your audience, right? And so, I mean, do you agree with that? I guess I'll ask first.
I don't know if it's a moral obligation, but it's definitely a good idea.
Oh god, the supererogatory. Please stop with this garbage fucking word. Oh, whoever taught him this word, I know who you are. You messaged me. You should be ashamed of yourself. But go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, here's why I think that I don't know about the word moral, but here's why I think it's important for people, especially doing political activity, you know, like discussing political topics and that sort of thing. I think it's important because obviously we influence our audiences, right? And if you were doing like unboxing streams or just like let's play videos or whatever, you know, I think that the degree of responsibility can vary. But when you're talking about political things,
I feel like
you're influencing people politically, and you also have to know that there will be like mutual impact. So like you might say things and then they'll go out and do things, and vice versa, right? So I guess that's the basis of my next question, which is, you must realize that because you debate people on the far right quite a bit, and because of the nature of what you do with your debate streams and that sort of thing, that there are a large number of right-wing people who watch your show.
I don't know if there are a large number of right-wing people who watch my show. There probably is a good number of politically undifferentiated people, but at least in the communities that I've seen and cultivated, my YouTube comments, my Discord, my Reddit.
Moderates? No. Independents? No. Undecided? No. Politically indifferentiated.
Whatever. I think the closest right bent I have is an annoying group of liberals who insist on watching me. Apart from that, I don't think I have many hard right followers.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not. I don't want to use any like loaded terms like audience or followers or community. I just think that it stands to reason that if you're regularly having discussions with people on the far right, there will be some overlap between your audiences. Some of them are gonna come over and like hate watch you, you know. Like I even get hate watchers on my channel, so I know there's an element of that. But yeah, I guess my point is, if you know that there are right wingers, even if it's in you know, law of large numbers, you have thousands of people that watch your stream. So even if it's like a small percentage of your audience, that's still going to mean there's like maybe hundreds of people, you know, that are fascist or racist watching. That's possible. I don't want to debate about the numbers or whatever, but I guess, okay, so I'm going to move on to the next point of my, I guess, my platform here, and then I'll let you just totally respond to my point, because I'm almost done making my point. So if you have, if it's true that there are any right-wingers watching you, that's one thing. And then another way to know, I guess, a metric of whether you have right-wingers or not is how...
What?
What point is this guy making? I don't understand what he's trying to say.
Some people take a long time to
I feel
say
like I've
anything.
outpaced him intellectually.
I don't know why.
NASA should begin building prototypes to mine asteroids, and we should pump a lot of money into fusion development.
People engage after you've done something, right? So like if I make a video, I'm going to try to gauge the outcomes. I'm going to try to watch what people are saying on social media about it. I'm going to go to Reddit and check that out. I'm going to check the comments on my channel or whatever. And so what I've noticed, and a lot of people have noticed, is a pattern where whenever you talk about somebody who is, shall we say, marginalized, you know, black or trans or person of color or what have you, that there's a tendency for those people to receive a lot of kind of like after effect.
Real quick, sorry, this is true at this point in the internet. A lot of people online that are part of marginalized groups think that all of the hate they get is because they're in a marginalized group. That's not true, okay? There is a lot of hate that a lot of people get online. Just because you're black, just because you're a woman, and somebody is shitting your line, doesn't mean they're racist, doesn't mean they're misogynistic, necessarily. The vast majority of the hate is because they don't like what you said, or they're just being jerks on the internet, okay? But like, I've looked through a lot of the hate that these people get, because you can go through their Twitter mentions and shit. It's very rare that somebody's actually been like, racist. Misogyny, you'll see a bit more, depending on what you want to include as misogyny, like it's calling someone a bitch misogynist or whatever, right? But like, people trying to say like, all the hate they get is all misogyny, always like, fuck out of here, okay? Don't do this shit. Don't be in politics online and do this shit. If you're gonna complain that every time somebody hates you, it's all racism or whatever, you're a loser.
Destiny, do you think, since you have probably the most experience out of everyone on the platform, it's easier for you to get to your points faster than others, like this guy, for example?
Sure, maybe, sure.
Collateral damage in terms of harassment, threats, and other kinds of, like, you know, disturbing attacks like that. Now, I've seen it happen with Luna because I'm married to her. We spend all of our time together. I monitor, I help her administrate her comments and that sort of thing. And I also know other people who have shown me similar results, you know. So I guess my first question is, are you aware of that, or would you deny that that's something that happens?
Come on, Vaush, copy my takes.
I think I'd mostly deny it. You know, there's a whole narrative about my community harassing people, but in spite of nearly 3 years of trying to track down the people actually doing this, I've yet to be provided a single piece of evidence of it actually happening. Okay. Usually the initial claim is some very severe, you know, Vaush community, you know, harassing, like really bad stuff, right? But then I get some screenshots, and it's usually people just being kind of mean, which I'm fine with. I don't have a problem with people being mean to people I don't like. I guess it's possible that this happens. It's just not something that I've been provided substantive evidence of. If it can be provided, I'll ban those people from my community. But yeah, outside of that, I don't think it's. I just don't think it's that much of an issue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So okay, I guess
I've outpaced him intellectually.
I'm not going to press it too much farther. I will say that, like, this is the kind of thing that it's kind of hard to
substantiate.
litigate.
It's not hard to substantiate this, by the way. If you want to, it's super easy. When somebody's being transphobic, and by the way, I know it's easy because when it does really happen, I get a lot of people that DM me. There are some people that show up in my comments. There are at least 3 that happened over the past couple months that are just making just blatantly transphobic comments. And when I see them, I block them instantly so that they don't show up on my mentions anymore or they don't harass people that I harass on Twitter in that way. It's super easy to do that. When it happens, it's easy to find it. It's easy to call it out. It's easy to see it. You just have to point it out and go like, oh, look, this is happening. Or, oh, cool, okay, boom, block that person. It's very easy. Whenever somebody lies or whenever somebody's saying shit like, oh, it's really hard to ever prove this. No, it's not hard at all. They're public comments on social media that are publicly available for everybody to see, okay?
Because like, so for instance, I can just tell you from my personal experience that, you know, since I literally look at Luna's comments every single day on her YouTube channel, I kind of get an idea. Like she does.
Does this guy sound a little
comments every day,
obsessed?
you know, and you know that that's probably true. Just because any person of color, black person on the internet that's putting themselves out there and talking about politics is going to receive that kind of thing. So she does get those kinds of comments every day. But every time you've done a video where you talked about her, suddenly there's like a
I understand like a husband, wife working together and shit is cute, I guess, and everything. But like this whole like we're married, so I spend all of our time together. I'm going through all of her. I'm going through all of her YouTube comments for her. It's like. Sounds a little bit, but I mean, you know, hey, taste your own.
Big uptick in the number of those kinds of racists and just terrible kinds of disturbing comments. And
that's
the
sweet.
only other time I've ever seen that happen, it's only happened twice before, and once was after we had the discussion with Destiny, and once was after
oh no, Vaush is
the
seething.
Armchair Historian and her had a little bit of a back and forth. And it's never ever happened again. Lots of other people have criticized Luna, but those are the only 3 examples, and so something tells me it's just here. I guess let me put it this way: my instinct is there's something going on there, and if you think that matters, I would encourage you to take it seriously and investigate it more on your own, and see if you can find out more, and just keep that in the back of your mind, I guess, as you move forward when you talk about people who are vulnerable. Now, Luna is like, Luna and I are in our 30s, and we have each other, and we're stable. And the reason I'm not trying to preach at you, but I know.
Does it not sound weird?
There are people out there.
That's
who
like the
are
4th time he said something like that.
Vulnerable. There are people who are younger. There are people who have mental instability and might be inclined towards self-harm and that sort of thing. So I guess I'm just saying, from one big content creator to the other, it's something that I do is try to be careful about how I cultivate my audience. I try to identify the strengths and strengthen those, and I try to identify weaknesses and negate those as much as possible over time. So I'm not trying to preach at you, but that's something I wanted to make you aware of that's something that I've seen happen.
Oh my god, this guy talks so much.
Audience. So
I saw that tweet from Luna where she screenshotted some groypers quote tweeting her and said that they were sort of insinuated that was a product of her mentioning or talking with me. I mean, I'm a large content creator. There are people who hate watch me. I also have... oh, wait, hold on. I'm getting some feedback from your end when I talk. Do you know what that might be?
That's the party. They're listening.
Did it just start?
No.
Don't say anything bad about communism or Vietnam,
like
please, God.
Sort of static and like a gain pitch, kind of.
Did that fix it at all?
Let me see. Talking. Yeah, okay, wait, I think that did. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, real question. If I wanted to make fun of Mr. Mutin or Dan or this guy's voice, I could do a nasally voice impression of him, and it would be okay, and everybody would laugh, and we would call it the strawman voice, and it'd be good. But if I tried to make fun of Luna's voice, I feel like I would get in a lot of trouble. Now, if you can imitate other people's voices, like ethnically or whatever, or I don't even know what you would call it, language, accents or whatever, if you can do it well, does that make it okay? Now, there are people in chat that are going to say it's bad, but I submit to you as evidence.
Oh, that's good. Most important thing for us to do now is to keep our wits together. We got to occupy ourselves. Why don't we play a few games?
No, I just wanted to get away from you guys just for a few days. Now we're stuck in a box and you're going to play some games. No, you know what? I'm out.
What? The hell do you mean you're out?
I'm out. Nobody talk to me.
No, Dee, that's not a very good idea. You know, when my dad was in solitary confinement, I used to write to him every day to see how it was. He never wrote back. But if he did, he would have said, son, you've got to keep your mind active.
Okay,
Also,
were you sent me?
Are you...
Yeah?
I'll DM you. Well,
Okay.
You sure he wouldn't say, "Remind me who you are again"?
Oh, that was great. That was Luther.
My dad knows who I am. Hey, do the voice again, but this time say, "I love you, son."
But you know, that's a good distraction. Like, you know, like any kind of impressions you got, like any kind of.
You want to hear me do a couple of impressions? That'd be fun. Yeah. Okay. So let's see.
All right, so let me know which ones you want to hear.
I'm sorry, Dee. I thought you were sitting out.
Well, I was out, but then these guys wanted to hear some impressions, and since I'm always wanting to be of service, here I am.
They don't want to hear your impressions. They want to hear my impressions.
No.
Your impressions are terrible.
Are you out of your mind? No, my impressions are fantastic. Give me some.
Jamaican food is good.
Do Obama.
Obama? Well, I can't do that.
Why not? Yeah. Why can't you do Obama?
Because he's a black man and I'm a white woman. Can you give me a white woman?
You think I can't do a black woman? I mean,
No.
okay. Name one.
CCH Pounder.
Who's that?
CCH. Yeah, the actress from The Shield. Love that show. Okay. Yeah. No, I can do that. Yeah. Let's see.
God damn it, Dutch! What other errands do you have us running for the DA?
Whoa! That was spot on.
Thanks, man.
Spot on. You don't even know who she is, Frank.
I just assume she's a no-nonsense black broad from the precinct.
That's exactly who she is.
Fine. I'll do Obama, okay?
All right. What do you got?
Hey, yo, what up, son?
My dude.
What's up with Congress?
Remember the
Why you
goal.
on my
Rest is
ass
to make
and
other
shit?
players rage quit.
Oh my God, Dave.
Yeah, what are you doing? So racist.
Are you kidding me?
Very racist.
Deandra, he is the president of the United States.
That's our
Well,
president.
hold on a second. Why was that racist? But what he did was fine.
Because that's not what Obama sounds like, Dee. That's why.
Okay, well, you know, I was warming up. Let me try again. Hey, yo, where my senators at, dog?
So if you do it well, maybe it's okay. I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry about
I saw those screenshots. People are saying my voice is too loud in your stream. I don't know if that's
Probably
the case.
just fix both problems simultaneously, I think. So.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, obviously, as a product of my size, beefing with me is going to cause a lot of engagement, and there might be negative consequences to that for, like, marginalized people, because I'm broadly known on the right. I don't know if there's a way to directly attribute that to me. I know they're not my audience. I don't think I have a substantial Groiper audience at my beck and call. I just don't know if there's anything I can really do about that. Because at that point, it's not even about my community. It's just about the size of my channel and exposure given to people that I disagree with. And we're working off tenuous connections as well. I mean, it could very well be that even if I was perfectly responsible with all my engagement, merely the act of being signal boosted to the level that one is when they engage
Server
with
drops
me,
enabled?
would then
What does that
increase
mean?
the likelihood of that kind of negative attention. There's just, it feels like the link here is tenuous enough that
Why?
I don't have a direct
Why-
control
is that
over it.
the
or
shift
really
Alt
even an
F4? Will
indirect
Alt F4 make
control.
you-
The only solution would be, I think, to just not ever engage
little
with,
trolling.
positively or negatively, any other figures who are marginalized, which probably wouldn't be good. That doesn't seem like a sustainable solution, I think.
Well, okay, there are a few things there. I guess I'll push back a little bit against. So the first thing would be, you know, every time there's some things you can do. Every time I talk about somebody who I disagree with, who could be receiving that kind of, you know, hate, like, I'm very careful to tell my audience, like, do not harass this person, blah blah blah. That will help with your actual audience, your community, the people that you actually like. Enjoy. But then also you just, I don't know, I think you could be more selective about some of the things that you say about certain people, because there have been instances, like with, for instance, when you talked about Luna, I don't think that calling her a useless stepchild of Vietnam, I think that might fan the flames of like racial problems. I'm not saying that you were...
Fuck off. Racial? Are Vietnamese, like, especially prone to having stepchildren? Is that, like, a stereotype that I don't know about? Get the fuck out of here.
Intentionally being racist, that's not the point there, but I think that having that kind of super vitriolic statement could perhaps fan the flames. I think maybe when talking about people in marginalized positions, you could perhaps just stick to the facts and to the...
Does it? Hold on, actually. Here's a question. If you're Vietnamese posting on the internet, Do you count as a marginalized person if you're from Vietnam? Does that make you count as a marginalized person? I don't know if I would actually, maybe if you're like in predominantly white spaces, but like, I think, would we say that Asian people in general are marginalized on the internet? Like, if you're in, if you're like on is it Naver? There's a name for like the Korean boards where like they would all post shit or whatever. Like, I wouldn't say you were marginalized there as a Korean. I don't know. Maybe I guess you could argue on YouTube you're a marginalized person. I don't know if this is relevant here. This is a dumb fuck argument.
Ideas more instead of bringing up the personal vitriolic remarks like that, calling them stupid, using ableist slurs and that sort of thing. I think that might be one way you could kind of control some of that. Do you like completely disown and denounce the people who have made racial comments about Luna since you made your stream about her?
Oh, anyone who makes racist comments towards Luna is either not a part of my community, or if they are, should be removed from it. I'm not a racist, and I don't tolerate racism on any of my platforms. If it really is like hate followers who are watching or simply responding to an increase in visibility, though, nothing I say will change anything. I mean, I could have a positive interaction. In fact, I know this because I have had positive engagements with people, marginalized people, either race, gender, sexuality, who then got harassment after talking with me, not just from the rest of the left for deigning to talk with me, of course, but just as a product of being made visible, you know? So if that is the group responsible predominantly for the real vitriol, I don't think there's anything I could do other than be silent. In terms of like harassment from my community, like the tone that I set, I'm okay with it. I'm generally quite mean to conservatives or people that I don't like. I think that's okay. I think that the vitriol is sort of an essential component.
Okay, you don't think that when you said that Luna's a useless stepchild of Vietnam, that could, even if you didn't intend for it to have racial undertones, right? Because intention here doesn't matter. I think you'd agree with me. It's the outcomes that matter. You don't think that that's the kind of thing that can stoke racially charged responses from people or encourage.
You can get that from criticizing China too, right? Like, I hate China, but if you talk about that long enough, folks who are actually racist are going to catch on.
You can only so much you can do about China without calling somebody a useless stepchild of China, for instance. You know, I mean, like,
if they were a Chinese nationalist.
What does that even mean, a useless stepchild of Vietnam? I don't really understand what you were trying to say there.
Oh, I don't know. I threw out probably like 100 or 200 insults. I don't even remember the one you're saying right now. I'm sure in context it was very funny.
Remember what you said tells me you weren't being too careful when you talked about her.
Or he just doesn't care about insulting.
I can't remember every insult I deliver over a whole stream. I mean, that's hours every day I'd have to log. I don't have that much storage space in my head.
I don't know. I think you could be careful. I think you could be more careful about how you talk about other people. But okay.
What you've said there,
I think this is going nowhere. So
he's doing the this is the corn cob debate, where he is he's basically impugning Vaush for being mean. That's what's happening right now.
What you've said there, that doesn't cross my threshold for irresponsible treatment. I mean, obviously, and I'm not, this isn't an effort to poison the well. Obviously, you have a closer relationship with Luna than I do. That's kind of an understatement.
I do recognize that she's a person. Yeah. That's part of being, you know.
Right. Well, we're going to have different perspectives on an acceptable level of vitriol towards people that you don't like. I guess the thing that always weirds me out a little bit is I'm very mean to conservatives on my channel. Nobody seems to mind that much. But then when there are people on the left who have ideas that I think are just as pernicious, you know, all of a sudden people, you know, they get very up in arms about it. I don't understand the double standard personally. I think that it's...
I can't speak to that because I don't have enough insight into or optics into that. So,
what do you think it's okay if I was? I'm just asking because I just want to know if it's a broad opposition or if there's kind of like a specific favoritism here. If I was doing a video on, like, I don't know, Ben Shapiro, and I was just throwing them out there, you know, all the insults, nothing anti-Semitic or whatever, but, you know, just insults. Do you think there's an issue with that vitriol, or do you think that's a fine thing
if it's motivated by things like race and or being trans or whatever, then of course there's a problem. Even if, like, for instance, like, you know, like if there's if you're debating a conservative who was gay, and then you made some kind of comment that could be construed as referencing their sexuality. I'm not saying you did that. I'm speaking hypothetically. And then that person got harassed for being gay, even if they're conservative, I certainly wouldn't say that that's acceptable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I'm saying you. I'm just saying the hypothetical you. A person who did that would have to take responsibility for the role that they played in that. And I think that when you're throwing out insults, you need to be thinking about the potential ripple effects that the words you use can have when you're talking to thousands of people.
Well, I think the ripple effect is, I suppose I dislike her, and I'm okay with people in my audience disliking her, but if the racial comments, like the racism, is really coming from like the Groyper hate followers, I just don't think there's a relationship between the language that I use, you know, this language at least, which is, I don't think, racialized, and the outcomes. Hold on, somebody linked the stepchild thing. I just want to hear it. It's 6 seconds. 1 second. Yeah, the modern Vietnamese government has produced little fucking off stepchild bastard children like Luna Oi here. Yeah, the modern Vietnamese government has.
I think that's racist.
Oh yeah, it's a comment on Vietnamese education producing like nationalist defenders. Yeah, so that would be like the stepchild comment.
What is the stepchild connection there?
Well, like,
you know that she's 5 years older than you. I mean, I don't understand why you keep calling her a child. And
what does her being older have to,
like, overly demeaning? I don't know what basis you have for that.
I'm okay with being demeaning. With the stepchild thing, when I think of like, it was like the redheaded stepchild kind of thing, like the idea that like you know, like a bunch of like sort of children running
goodbye
around,
brother.
You know, it's the
They expect to find one of us in the wolf wreckage.
You know, I think it's a salient critique of the way governments will sort of indoctrinate their constituents.
Could you not have made that point? You know, knowing what you know and knowing and being conscious of the way that certain people that watch your show, could you just not have made that point with a little bit less personal vitriol? I guess I just don't understand the. I don't.
But
understand.
I'm okay with
I talk
the
to
vitriol
people all the time that I don't like, but I don't make weird comments about them like that.
I'm okay with the vitriol. Also, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Luna's been quite vitriolic to me for a while. Not to say it's not
for months on end until you decide to do another stream about her. That's something I can tell you for sure.
Oh, sure. Not to say it's not mutual.
She doesn't go around talking about you all the time. It's always in self-defense. I mean, I have to say that I've been very keyed in on that.
I think there was at least one time she started something, but it doesn't matter. I'm not. This isn't like a who started it type thing. I'm just saying that I think the vitriol certainly is mutual. I don't see an issue with being vitriolic. It's fine. If anything, you know, I'm working on maybe trying to be a little more vitriolic. I feel like the left online gives way too much of a pass to certain types of ideas, some types of nationalism.
Why do you think that is beneficial? I mean, what do you think what end does that serve? I don't get it. I don't understand how calling somebody a useless stepchild of Vietnam serves any purpose.
Well, it was part of a broader like bit on the nationalism thing, but anti-nationalism is a strong component of leftist
like if you said Luna's a rabid nationalist or something, then like that would have a connection to what you're saying. I don't understand it. I don't see this. I don't feel like this conversation is going anywhere. I don't think that you're. I don't think you get what I'm saying. So
no, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that I was too mean. I just don't mind being mean.
It's not about being mean. And I'm using the personal situation of Luna because I'm familiar with that. But there have been a number of people have come forward and said that after you talked about them on stream, they got a lot of hate. And I'm just saying that if that were me and that were my audience and that were my platform, and somebody was saying that, I would take it very seriously and I would work very hard to do everything I could to decrease that as much as possible. No, you're saying that you want to go forward and be more vitriolic towards.
Well, the thing is,
we're talking about people of color, transphobic people, trans people, you know, gay people, whatever. You're saying you want to be more vitriolic to people who you disagree with, who are marginalized, not less vitriolic.
The main thing is that I do take it seriously, and having taken it seriously, I've only found evidence to take it less seriously. Because this has happened before, this basic pattern, and I always have it investigated. I have mods, I have a team.
It is a pattern of behavior.
I have a crack team, you know, and this always gets looked into. I can never find evidence of real harassment. Either it's just people being mean to them, which again, I'm totally okay with, and I don't think that's...
What do you consider violent? I mean, like, I don't know. you don't think that if somebody's if a bunch of people are coming forward and it seems like a pattern behavior, because you said it's a pattern behavior, and you're having to investigate it all the time. I mean, I don't have this problem. I don't have to go out launching investigations with like a crack mod NSA team to go do like investigations, because I'm not constantly hearing from people that when I talk about them on stream that they're getting a bunch of harassment over race and gender and sexuality and that kind of thing. But that's what I'm hearing people say about your audience. So what's the? I don't know what the difference is between my.
Wait, hold on. Somebody just linked a tweet where Luna is essentially calling me a pedophile. I think I'm okay with the meme. I usually try to proportion it to my dislike for people. I feel like
I know
Luna.
the tweet you're talking about. Do you want to read the tweet and tell me exactly what it says?
Vaush gets kicked off of platforms for saying cracker, but not for saying
100%.
pedophilia can be good for children. Sick fucking world.
Which is an exact quote that you said.
No, it's not.
You play the video that it's linked to. Tell me that it's not
The
a
video
direct
cuts
quote.
me off mid-sentence. It literally cuts me off in between.
You did say that, though. She referenced something you actually said.
Non-compete is so disingenuous.
It is possible.
Hold on.
You could defend yourself and say that was taken out of context or whatever, but she didn't call you a pedophile, and she was referencing something you actually said, which is a different situation than being vitriolic towards people for absolutely no reason.
So do you think
whatsoever.
that signal boosting misinformation with the intent of sort of painting a person as a pedophile isn't like, it's interesting that you would take issue with saying a person's a stepchild of the country that they're from, but the idea of like signal boosting disingenuous far right pedo jacketing that was literally cut off mid-sentence isn't itself bad faith or disingenuous. Like, that's really weird to me. I don't know.
Does anybody remember? Was it Vaush's community that signal boosted me wanting to apparently indiscriminately kill Black Lives Matter protesters? Really makes you think, doesn't it?
I don't understand. Is it like a perceived vulnerability thing because my community is
there is a power differential for one thing. That is true, but also that's not the only thing. The other thing is, she wasn't just talking about you. She was talking about the way platforms work. I think that you would agree that getting kicked off for saying cracker was ridiculous, right? Do you agree with that?
I would agree that calling me a pedophile is being vitriolic. I don't think there's any working around that.
She didn't call you a pedophile. She didn't call you a pedophile.
Non-compete. Come on.
Did it? She
do we need a key to get in and out of here?
She thinks that what you said in that clip
it's in one of the chests,
is worse than saying cracker.
I mean, if you cut together a bunch
that's
of
what we gotta use for
words spliced from different streams and arranged them in a way to implicate me, and then looked at that and said, huh, look at that, that's interesting. That wouldn't technically be calling me.
I don't know what to say. I can just tell you that there's a difference between quoting what somebody actually said in a specific context when you're commenting on a platform versus calling somebody.
Wait, do you have an extra key on you?
Yep. Well, I have one on me. There's a guy out there with a horse.
Actually quoting me,
stepchild of Vietnam.
It's not quoting me.
Which is really just an insult based on the fact that she's Vietnamese. That's the only tangible piece of evidence about her identity that you addressed, or even you didn't address her positions. You addressed like you didn't call her a nationalist. You called her a stepchild of Vietnam.
In a section where I was hold on, this would be a lot easier for you if you didn't form your opinions based exclusively off the Twitter clips. In the whole video, where you can find the section. No, I'm talking about the stepchild thing. I have an opinion on whether or not I'm a pedophile, and it's that the people who go out of their way to call me one because they can't address my real arguments are bottom-feeding scum. And I really like the idea that you would complain. Wait, hold on. The idea that people would complain about vitriol. Not even about the arguments used, right? But like in terms of vitriol. And what? Because I made a joke about her being a nationalist? Like, is stepchild like a slur now? This concern totally me. I don't
Vietnam,
get it.
You did mention her nationality, which is I don't know her ethnicity.
I think she's a Vietnamese nationalist. Yes, stepchild of Vietnamese propagandizing education. Sure, yeah.
Did you take his hat?
I don't even think that's particularly vitriolic. I'm pretty sure
somebody just shot a crossbow.
All right, we're really just going around in circles now. So I don't know. I have nothing else to say about this. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I suppose not.
Okay. Do you want to?
Oh, I thought I heard a crossbow. Maybe not. I don't know.
Talk about anything else? I have a few other questions. I
Yeah.
could ask.
Well, there were 3 topics that you mentioned.
If you want his hatchets,
I didn't have the email up. Well, you said the first one was on targeting marginalized people. And the second one was a perceived lack of understanding of Luna's video and of dialectical materialism. And then the third one was the dishonest rhetorical tricks I use in my discussions. And I'm happy to talk about either or both if you'd like.
Okay. So I think that in your video, so specifically just focusing on the stream you had about Luna, now because you said that, people that don't address your opinions, blah, blah, your actual positions. I feel like you spent 2 hours, you called people who don't address your actual positions bottom feeding scum. You spent
and call
2
me
hours.
pedophiles. That's the part that bothers me the most.
Categorically, Luna did not call you a pedophile. She quoted something that you said,
Wasn't
and
a quote.
I do happen to agree. I don't think there's any situation where an adult can have a sexual relationship with a child, and it has a positive outcome. So
if you had actually seen the full bit that was clipped from, then you would agree. You saw the full bit, not just the Twitter bit, but the full thing in which I was constructing
your
a rule
foundation was that there can be some situations where an adult and a child can have a positive outcomes. You didn't say. Anyway, it's totally immaterial.
It's important. So, in a consequentialist sense, you can easily construct.
Quebec is going to be implementing a health tax on unvaccinated people. You just can't do that. It just doesn't work because there are so many health conditions that are arguably brought on by lifestyle choices that if you were to start with one, where does that end? Right. The next one is obviously a health tax on obese people. What about a health tax on smokers? What about a health tax on people that don't exercise enough? What about a health tax on people that sit down too much? Where does that end?
Construct a situation where essentially anything is fine. I'll ask you. Just follow through with me. 30 seconds.
Well, I'm not an idealist. I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals that don't have any bearing on material reality.
That is. Wait. Hold on. Hold on.
I'm not
wait. Hold on. Wait. First of all, we're not talking
hypothetical situations where adults can molest children and it has a positive outcome.
You're the one talking. Wait. Hold on. First of all, Marx was a philosopher. It's not idealism. Wait, no, hold on. Wait, you can't move away from this. Okay, hold on. I'm not letting you paint me like this and then run the fuck away. Wait, hold on. Wait, you have to.
Okay. This America Johnson, non-compete, whatever, is a fucking moron. Okay, so I'm probably gonna side with him, or I'm probably gonna side with Vaush more than him in this conversation. I will say though that the idea of Vaush desperately trying to hold somebody to a hypothetical related to pedophilia. And not letting them squirm away from the hypothetical is really rich, given that he just squirmed away from Mr. Grohl in a conversation like a week and a half ago over this exact same kind of fucking topic. That's pretty funny, to be fair. But, all right, let's go.
Stop talking for 1 second, okay? Hold on. So imagine, all right? Imagine aliens come down to Earth, and they say...
This is absolutely ridiculous, Vaush.
You've blasted 6 seconds so far, okay?
Imagine aliens. This is as hypothetical idealism as you can get. You're literally...
Idealism is not every time you make a hypothetical. I don't know why he keeps saying this.
So it's like
you're like a honeymoon virgin. You gotta last longer than 6 seconds. Just give me a second, okay? Did I not let you talk for a long time when you were establishing your premises? Come on.
I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals with you.
You don't have to. You don't have to talk. You just have to listen. You just have to listen. Okay. Now you can imagine a situation in which aliens come down to Earth and they say, "We're going to blow up the whole planet unless you kill this innocent kid." Now, in a consequentialist sense, killing that innocent kid. Right? I know, right? So follow through. So in a consequentialist. I know an inability to grasp philosophy is one of my biggest issues with Luna. It makes sense that it would apply to both of you. That's not what this philosophy and idealism aren't the same thing. Those don't mean the same thing. You can Wikipedia them.
You're basing you're constructing hypothetical situations that have no bearing.
Hypotheticals aren't. Wait, do you think?
Hey, hypothetical situations by default don't have like a bearing or whatever in reality. That's why it's a hypothetical. But we can still take the lessons that hypothetical situations is used to analyze moralize like a particular like precept or like a moral idea or whatever we have. That's what I. So for instance, if somebody says like we should never kill an innocent person to save another innocent person. Well, okay. Well, what if we could harvest one person's brain and we could discover the cure for a disease that's going to kill, like 100,000 children or whatever, right? In that case, would you do it? Like, okay, maybe. But now that's a hypothetical situation. It's not real. It doesn't. There's no real situation unless you're playing like The Last of Us or whatever, which is also not real. It's a video game. But like we can still use that to test ideas and everything. Oh my god, that bear's not after me, right? Okay.
Idealism is when you construct a hypothetical. Do you think those mean the same thing? You're going to lecture me on dialectical materialism.
There's no
and you're
point
struggling
in
on
having this discussion. Is my point.
Can you answer that question? Do you think idealism means when you construct a hypothetical? Have you read Capital? It's full of hypotheticals.
That has nothing to do with reality, and you think that that gets you closer to the truth. That is idealism, because you are making the ideal conscious processes of thought your basis for truth.
Idealism is not when you.
Materialist, and my basis for finding truth.
I see the issue. You think idealism is when you think, which is why you don't. Listen, if you read Das Kapital, okay, you'll actually find hypotheticals. They're actually kind of ubiquitous. Look. Anyway,
they're grounded in reality, though. They're grounded in actual things that happen.
So just let's finish the point. We can move on if you let me talk for 10 seconds, okay? So in that situation, you could argue consequentially that the outcomes would be good to murder that innocent child because the earth doesn't get blown up. Then, because the Twitter bit cuts me off literally mid-sentence, you follow on from that point to talk about how a rule utilitarian could have a categorical opposition to the murder of children in spite of that. The whole argument was one against the predation of children, but far-right people like to clip me out of context because it's easier than debunking me. That's it. That was it.
Okay. All right. That is idealism, though.
That's not what idealism means.
It is. When you think that you can find any truth that brings you, like when if you use a hypothetical that's grounded in reality, then that's
not. This isn't what idealism means. This isn't. It's not. You don't know what that term means.
Well, what do you think idealism means?
So, do you mean idealism like in relationship to materialism in the dialectical sense, like dialectical idealism versus dialectical materialism? Because the Hegelian concept has nothing to do with the construction of hypotheticals.
No, it doesn't. But it does. It does. It does. So yes, it does, because idealism is the position that the basis for finding truth, and this actually does move towards what I wanted to talk to you about. So I'm fine with talking about this now, because I do think you misunderstand the difference between materialism and idealism, and I think you don't understand the relationship between Hegel and Marx and Engels, and I don't think that you understand the difference between historical materialism and dialectical materialism. So these are all things I did want to ask you about. So Hegel's whole dialectic, and the problem that Marx and Engels had with Hegel, was that he sought truth on the basis of the ideal and consciousness. Okay? Marx and Engels broke with that, and they thought that the material world in objective sense data, empirical sense data, is the primary basis for truth. But they were not empiricists. They were not positivists, meaning they didn't think you could only find truth in sense data, in empirical data. Okay? Do you agree with all of those things I just said, or do you know those things?
No, I don't think that's correct. I think that's simplified in some respects and incorrect in others.
All right. Well, just tell me what you think idealism is, Vaush.
The dialectical disagreement. So first of all, idealism is a philosophical tradition dating back millennia. What you refer to as ideal, like, I don't know, there are like 20 different kinds of idealism depending on where you're pulling from. The juxtaposition usually posed against what Marx wrote was Hegelian dialectical idealism, which was the idea that social advancements, that ideas that human civilization was moved forward as a product of the antagonisms which arise in people's thoughts, as they have competing values and virtues which fight against each other, and you achieve synthesis, which is ideally an advancement of the idea, right, of the concept.
Okay, yes.
And Marx's...
Can I stop you for one moment?
Sure.
Can I stop you for one moment? Okay. So, an example of that, I think, and one of the big problems we have on the left today, and a problem that I've seen you have in your discussions, is that we have these hypothetical discussions about what we should do or shouldn't do, or after the revolution, will this happen or will this exist, and blah, blah, blah. And we construct hypothetical scenarios about the future, and then we think that that's what we should base all of our praxis and activism on. So in other words, we come up with the ideas first, which Engels described as utopianism, Marx and Engels described as utopianism, and then we think like, okay, we've got this perfect vision for where we want to be. Now we have to get from here to there, and we have to dogmatically stay that course. That would be, would you agree that that's an idealist basis for moving a movement forward, a political movement?
I think it's utopian, but I don't think it's a dialectically idealist concept. I think you could frame that belief system through dialectical materialism just fine.
You could frame that system through dialectical materialism. Frame a utopian system, or what do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
Why are my dono sounds playing, but the donos are muted? Hold on, we'll catch up on this real quick.
I think the premise and context kind of matters. The sip is funny, but Steven Crowder just comes up racist. Why do people address people like they're their mom or dad? Like this video, this guy is telling Vaush that he said something mean. Who gives a fuck? Guys like this are unbearable.
It's true.
No, nope, false, incorrect, erroneous, inaccurate, inexact, invalid, off, unsound, untrue, untruthful, wrong, counterfactual, specious, spurious, deceptive, delusive, distorted, fallacious, bogus, Cisco,
You're in the same area still,
Cisco, death.
I died, but I'm on the way back.
Losing.
Does the right do this to their content creators also? Seems like once a lefty gets too big, they try and devour them.
If you spun into my shack.
Wait, are you where we are, or are you somewhere different?
I'm pretty close.
Okay.
The far right and the left both seem dead set on over anti-intellectualism.
If you want
the
me
right
to move to your
refuses to
place, I
believe
can
scientific authorities, and the left
take
refuses to
everything
believe
and
logic.
move.
Horseshoe theory is real.
Two.
Okay.
Practical materialism is only a mode of analysis. It's a theory to explain the movement, the evolution of human behavior, society, social developments. You know, you could apply it to anything. You can analyze any system, any society through the lens of dialectical materialism. It doesn't have to be. There isn't like a dialectically materialist way of doing a thing. You know, outside the process of analysis, you can't like make a civilization and go like, this time we'll do it dialectically, materially.
The point is that you're putting the cart before the horse if you say this would be a perfect society, and you know, a priori you will find out through praxis what works and what doesn't. That was a big important thing that Marx and Engels pointed out, was that you can only find truth through practice and praxis.
I'm not a utopian. I agree that it is dumb to conceptualize an ideal society and then
okay, so when you conceptualize things with aliens and things that don't happen on planet Earth, that's a useless rhetorical strategy.
Oh my God, this is what you were running back to? No, okay.
Yes.
So,
DM, I don't know if I even want to explain how stupid America is being here. I don't think that when they're talking about idealism in this sense that it's a utopian society, and then he's saying the hypothetical is utopian because the hypothetical isn't real. You're so far behind the conversation. I don't even know how to catch a person like that up. This is just like such a ridiculously stupid thing to say. Like,
no. Let me explain. And please listen. This can be instructive, okay? There is a massive difference between framing your pragmatic advocacy for a political system based on a utopian vision of a future that you don't have material conditions to account for, and the construction of a hypothetical to illustrate the dynamics of a moral system. If you read Capital, I promise you will find hypotheticals that are very outlandish.
Hold on. Your whole thing, you believe that you can construct a moral system where you can, you know, beforehand...
I didn't construct it. It's just rule utilitarianism.
You can't... The material conditions determine what is morally acceptable and what's not. When the French resistance were blowing Nazis, that was okay because of the material conditions they were in. Right? Do you agree with that? But it's not always okay to just go blow people up.
No,
like there
those
are certain
are
material conditions where it's acceptable and somewhere it's not.
Those have nothing to do with each other. No, I'm not a moral relativist. Wait, do you think slavery was moral because back then people thought it was moral?
That's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying.
The material conditions.
No, that's exactly what you were saying.
Non-compete slavery. Do you think that's moral then? Like, what?
That's my point. Is that it has? I believe my morality stems from dialectical. Like, so let me put it this way.
But dialectical materialism isn't a moral system. It's just an analysis of history. Those are
okay.
These are the people who criticize.
I don't think dialectical materialism is just one lens through which we can view history, like in a material sense. I don't think it is. I could be wrong, but I don't think it has anything to do with morality. No, we could Google it. If you're ever doing philosophy stuff, the Stanford wiki is way better than just like the normal Wikipedia. Fuck, I'm not gonna be able to find this. My understanding is that I don't think dialectic materialism has anything to do with morality. I don't think it is that type of thing.
My philosophy, man.
Here's where you're wrong, because you are conflating empiricism and positivism and determinism with dialectical materialism.
No, what does determinism have to do with any of this? I feel like we're throwing around so many isms. I think we should stop and like define what we mean when we talk about every particular ism, so that we know what is going on.
But one of the important things that Marx and Engels pointed out, Vaush, is that through conscious activity we can impact the material world and we can make changes. And so, for instance, people can liberate themselves by developing mass movements, but they have to develop them with an understanding of the material processes of reality. If you try to develop, so for instance, of course, all poor people don't want to be poor anymore, right? But like, if you have false consciousness and you don't have a firm grasp on how material processes work and how the...
Is this you guys? Moot?
I don't think so. No.
Oh. I'm where you guys said you were, but there's another house here with a code lock on it, so...
We just jacked that guy up, man.
The world actually develops.